brand coach as well. Now, a few takeaways before we get into today's conversation is be authentic in pursuing a personal brand. Now, who you are behind your social media account shouldn't be different from who you are when people meet you or encounter you. And then the second thing is to learn to dress the way you want to be addressed. Yes, might not be fair, but that's just how life goes. So know how to carry yourself at all times. And then another one that stuck with me had to do with building an online presence and leaving your footprints on the internet. Now, the advice that was shared is to be consistent. Now, the key word is consistency. You'll see engagements and results when you're consistent. Sometimes, it gets tiring, trust me, having to think of a caption and you'll be staring at your phone and no caption comes, but you know that you have to be consistent. You know that you want to leave your footprints on social media or online. You want to have an online presence. So basically, you'd always want to put something out there. And then finally, or in building your online presence, you need to know who you're speaking to, carve a niche for yourself and stick with it. And before we get into today's conversation, sticking a little bit longer on online presence is don't think it's quote just social media. It might come back to haunt you in more ways than one, and be sure you can defend the things you post on social media whenever the need arises. Now, someone will probably be smiling right now because, just gone some weeks by, we saw a few of our MPs who are being vetted to be ministers, having to defend some of the posts they made on social media and all of that. So you need to be measured in some of these things. But yes, if you're just joining us, you're welcome. It's another midweek, and we're here with Strong and Sassy on Joy 99.7 FM. Join in the conversation. Share your thoughts with us. We're talking about what self-love is. WhatsApp number is active. It's 055 1111 997. It's 055 1111 997. Pretty shortly as well, we'll activate the phone lines for you to join in and share your thoughts with us, what you make of the concept of self-love, and if you've been able to practice self-love in its entirety. Now, joining me, drum roll, ladies and gentlemen, is Ariel. Now, Ariel is a wellness coach. I told you earlier that I have heard so much about you, and I was actually checking up on you. I was like, okay, Ariel has been working. How are you doing, though? And I'm glad you're joining me today.
Thank you. I'm doing very well, and thanks for having me on the show today.
We're glad to have you.
Thank
now,
you.
When someone wants to talk about self-love, how do you define self-love, and what does it mean?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Like you said, everybody has seen the flyer, and I'm sure the internet is there. You just mentioned everything. I'm sure everybody has gone on the internet and read the definition of self-love. So everybody knows. I'm going to read a few definitions
Go
here,
ahead.
and then we'll come into what it feels like.
Okay.
So the first one I have here is that self-love is an act of valuing and caring for yourself, and it's a positive trait. It can involve being kind to yourself, taking care of your needs, and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. This one says self-love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that supports our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Wow. Self-love means having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. It also means taking care of your needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. I saw one definition that was anonymous, that was very, very strong, and I want to share that as well. It says self-love means different to different people. Some may define it as being in love with yourself. Some may say it's pampering yourself. Some may say it's putting yourself before others. Self-love to me means taking baby steps to help believing in yourself, acknowledging your flaws, accepting you aren't perfect yet, you are exactly what you need for yourself. Loving yourself is not selfish. It's a selfless feeling of being in love with someone who is going to be with you forever, which is you. That doesn't mean others are behind or ahead of you, or that you are superior or inferior. In self-love, you don't have a reason to compare yourself to them. It's a phase where you don't need someone else's love to love you for you to realize you have yourself to do that. Standing up for yourself and your beliefs, enforcing strong boundaries, and making people respect them, respecting yourself is what I term as self-love.
That's
That's a lot, eh?
that's a lot.
This is the definitions on self-love, especially the second one I read is what I actually use during my master classes to define self-love. It's a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that supports your physical, psychological, and also your spiritual growth.
Right.
So this definition is what self-love is. But how does it feel to be in love with yourself? I think that is where the trickiness of self-love is. Because you can read this, you can understand it. It's this, it's that.
How you practice
How you practice it. How does it feel when you are in love with your life? I think that is, for me, more of what I'll say self-love is. And so I wrote what self-love means for me.
So for the you part, I was hoping that the you part will come later, but maybe let's just hold on to that for a little bit.
Sure.
Now, with all the things that you've read here, I wanted to find out, is there a difference between self-love and then self-care? Because someone will think that, these things are, more like self-care as well. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Self-love is self-care.
It's self-care.
It is self-care on a deeper level because when you love yourself, you take steps to honor your needs. So self-care is the practice of intentionally and deliberately taking steps to honor your needs, not leaving it for someone to do it for you, like the definition said, not leaving your needs and thinking, okay, I'm pleasing someone, so I'm waiting for someone to do this for me or honor me in a way that I want. So on a deeper level, self-care is the process of falling in love with your life. Yes.
Now, how can someone prioritize self-love in their daily life? So because I wanted to get to that and then also come to the part where how, the steps basically, because we can say all the things, we can read all the nice things, but then what's the process like? Where do we even begin first of all? But let's talk about the, how you're able to prioritize that in your everyday life.
In the everyday life. Okay. So prioritizing yourself, your everyday life comes with one thing, your state of mind.
Right.
How you prioritize yourself with all the other things that are happening in your day. That's where it starts from. So the thinking process of what you value more than yourself would be what you prioritize in your, timing. What you give more attention to is what you're prioritizing. So to say that I want to prioritize my needs in the day means you have a high regard for yourself. And so you can say that reading all these emails at 5 a.m., that is not my priority. I will put it aside and have my 10-minute exercise, do my 10-minute meditation, or read my journal or my devotion before I jump into the day. But if your thinking or your prioritizing is different, you won't honor yourself. You will prioritize the other activities and say, I will wait. So we put ourselves on the back burner. So prioritizing yourself means you put yourself on the top of the list and say that when I need something that is me, it's also important. I won't give it up because I think, finishing all these things is more important than me. But when you start thinking that I am the one going to do all these things, and if I'm not at a good space, then what I'm doing it's not right.
So the mindset.
So the mindset is the powerful part of the whole thing,
which is so important. Like I get how. See, so with all this, I read it's very, very important. But you see, the human being and the mind, yes.
Yeah.
Is it that you have to do something to get your mind to respond to certain things?
that
Because
thing.
you see, as a human being, so many things happen around you, and it's difficult to know what to prioritize at what's given moment. But you seem to have come to a point in life where you know what to prioritize and what to give attention to.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there who's like, well, I'm being blown wherever the wind takes
Yeah.
me, how then, where do you begin to start making your
That
mind
mind's
understand?
change. Okay,
Yeah.
so the journey can be conscious and unconscious.
Okay.
Yes, it's two ways. You can start the journey unconsciously. Now there's the message is all over there. So consciously you can become aware of
Okay, so
these things and then
self-love,
consciously start changing the things you prioritize. It can also come unconsciously where you snap, one day and you're like, no,
What have I been doing with my
what
life
am
all
I
this while?
doing? This thing is not feeling like I want it to feel. Okay, sorry, that's the conscious one where you snap and you're like, no, I don't, this is not for me. That was how it started. I snapped. I'm like, no, this is not how life is supposed to feel. It's feeling too hard. Must it be hard? So there was that fight with myself. Must it be hard? So it was a conscious awareness that no, I don't like where I am. Something is wrong here. It shouldn't be feeling this hard. I'm a child of God. God loves me. Why am I suffering? So that was where it started for me.
Okay.
But the unconscious one is some people may be reading and learning certain things now, which is all over social media, and they may be transforming and gradually shifting their mindset.
Okay.
Then they start living by prioritizing their needs. So there are two ways. It can be a conscious process or an unconscious one.
Process.
Yeah.
Now, what about, common obstacles that, say, can prevent people from practicing self-love? Let's say, let's assume that we've got our mindset right.
Yeah.
What obstacles are we looking at? Because sometimes, you are so proud of yourself, you're on this journey, and then life happens, something just sets in, and it's like you feel like you're back to square one.
Yeah. One of the tenets or the foundations of self-care that you need to get a grip on is setting boundaries. If you don't know how to set boundaries and keep boundaries, it will be tough. So one of them is that if you don't have boundaries, there will be so many things that will distract you from the journey you have decided to embark on.
Okay.
So you may say that this is how my intention, this is how I want to feel in my life. Every day I want to be peaceful. And for me, that's it. I want to be peaceful. But that doesn't mean circumstances, situation, everything happening is going to, make you get the peace you want. Because everybody is not going the path you are going.
You're on.
So that intention should make your choices.
Okay.
Should direct your choices. Wellness is a choice. A choice that says that regardless of what Mirabelle does, I'm looking towards this direction.
She had to come in, yeah.
Yes, I had to get a name. Regardless of what aKorfa does, which may be swaying me off the peaceful path I'm choosing for today.
Right.
I'm going to see how best I can make choices that will align me back on that.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean when you choose the path of caring for yourself and loving yourself and taking responsibility, everybody's going to say, okay, thank you, bye-bye, go ahead and do your life. No.
Yeah, they're not going to
No, it's not just going to happen like that. But your mindset and your awareness of how you want your life to be feeling for you is what should guide your choices.
Right.
The fact that Mirabelle does something you don't like and you snap and then you start going off the peaceful path that you want to go on, it's not Mirabelle, it's your choice.
Your choice.
So once you start understanding this, then you appraise your choices. When you fall in love with yourself, one of the drastic thing that will happen is how you react and respond to things in your everyday life.
I see. No, so will that then fall into strategies that one can deal with societal pressure and the expectations that come with it? Because, just as I was saying earlier, that you have decided that you want to get on this journey of self-love.
Yeah.
And then, you step out into the world and, someone is just, trying to mess with you.
Yeah.
And do you think that has got anything to do with the society that we find ourselves in?
So the society, people, your sibling, your family, your husband, your friend, everybody is also on a different wavelength, vibration, energy. Everybody is going different. So you can't have everybody standing in the way you want before you allow yourself to go on the journey. It's like going on the sea. You can't stop the waves before you set off to go and get the fish. The waves are still all over there, but you have to set your sail in a way that will help you to go. And that's where the self-care practices come in, because they become the container that you put yourself in. And so when the waves are coming, you are kind of grounded in that container of practices you have carved around yourself.
For the practices, we'll get back to that pretty shortly, because that's actually my next question.
Sure.
But it's 7:26 right here on Joy 99.7 FM. We're on Strong and Sassy, and we're talking about self-love, and we're asking you out there, what is self-love to you? And if you've been down before, how did you pick yourself up to love yourself more? And you know, the process that you took to get there. Now you can send us your messages to our WhatsApp. It's live, it's active. It's 055-1111-997. We'll activate the phone lines as well, but we'd love to hear your messages or your comments and your thoughts on our conversation this evening. Again, the WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. Now joining me in studio is Ariel, the wellness coach. And so far, the nuggets are just, coming out. Today, you're going to spill all of your secrets here. Oh, yeah, like all the secrets are coming out. Now, for the practices, because we just walked right into it. Struggles and obstacles we have agreed will come.
Yeah.
But so what are some of the practices, the self-care routines that one has to immerse themselves in so they don't get distracted by everyone else around them?
Okay. So the practices varies for everybody.
Right.
Because what you would like as your self-care practice for your body may not be what I like.
Okay.
So the 8 dimensions of wellness is what guides the self-care, your self-care practices. So you have the physical well-being, social, emotional, intellectual, occupational, spiritual, environmental, and financial.
Hey.
All these areas are connected and they are all competing for your attention. Okay. You want money, you want to be healthy, you want friends, you want to be emotionally sound, you want to grow academically or occupationally, and you want to be intellectually smart as well. So all of these are intertwined. The neglect of one affects all. And so when you are carving out these container around you, it means you have practices that embodies some of these things. Some of the practices overlap for some. I mean, reading can help you intellectually and also emotionally and also, spiritually. Okay. So some of the practices inter overlap. Okay. But what you may like as your self-care practice for your physical well-being maybe is going to the gym. Somebody may like to ride a bicycle. I love to walk and do my yoga every morning. And so the practices are a lot when it comes to all these 8 dimensions. Okay. The important thing is to identify what you need and what you want for that need. Okay. So self-care is a very personal thing. And comparison is not wellness. Yes. If you start falling in love with your life, one of the things you stop doing is comparing your journey with anybody else, comparing yourself with anybody else.
But does that come to you instantly, or it takes a while, not comparing yourself to someone else?
It's a journey. The whole self-love thing is a journey. So you will get to the place where you realize, I'm here. This is it for me. Okay. Wow. I'm okay in my skin. Yeah. So you have to find the practices. And when I do my master classes, you can see that under physical wellness, there are so many practices. Under emotional wellness, there are so many practices. Somebody maybe music is what they need for their emotional self-care. Somebody maybe, going to the beach and walking at the beach. Somebody may be different, being with a loved one or having a pet around them. intellectually, there are different practices. Somebody would like to research, somebody would like to learn something new for their. So you have to know what you like, and that's why knowing ourselves is part of wellness. If you don't know yourself,
so I'm thinking we're probably then we're meant to start from knowing yourself.
Yes.
Before we get here. So without giving too much away, because I know you have sessions and all of that. What are some of the tips or the pointers that someone can go through to be able to know themselves? Because it will inform moving forward how you're going to practice self-love on yourself.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit of that?
Knowing yourself, first you have to understand that you're a unique person. You are not everybody. You can't be everybody.
You can't be everybody.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody will go into the shop and pick one white shirt, and you go and you pick another color.
Yes.
So you'd have to come to that
Realization
that I'm unique. I'm me. I can't be everybody. I can't have what everybody has. What I have is what I have. From that place on, that you and appreciate. So that is what we call self-acceptance, where you accept yourself with your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm not tall. I'm short. I'm not slim. I'm 16. I'm 18.
Yeah.
That's where I am. That acceptance of who you are in this very moment without wanting to be anything different.
Okay.
That's where it starts from, self-acceptance. If you don't come to that self-acceptance, you are always at a fight with your own self to become something different every day, but you are what you are today. So making peace with where you are is crucial, self-acceptance. Now, from self-acceptance, you need to take self-responsibility. And it's self-responsibility when it comes to self-care, self-love, wellness. It's like saying, I'm going to do this on my own. You know those songs that say, I'm going to do it on my own way. It's scary to tell the world, I'm going to do it on my own. It's like, what if I fail? So we don't want to show that I've taken full responsibility. It's my way. If I make it, I'm good. If I don't make it, I'm okay. That is another one, self-responsibility. It's not easy to say, I've got this. I'm going to do it my way.
And even when it doesn't go
and
well,
even when it doesn't go well, I can take responsibility, forgive myself, learn from my mistake, and move on. Resilience.
It's a whole journey.
It's a whole journey.
because while you're talking about the resilience like this, then something else comes in, because there are some people who, growing up, maybe someone unconsciously said something to them and they'll hold on to the words and it does a number on them. So if just as you're saying, if your mindset is not set right, you obviously will not get to a point where you're telling yourself that I need to work on this.
Yeah.
But how do we unlock such a brain? Like, how do we unlock such a brain? Because I found people, or some people have had conversations where they've talked about the fact that they're still struggling with words that maybe a parent said. Yeah. And they're struggling to move on from such, and it's hindering them from achieving certain things. Because I listened to an audiobook, and then someone mentioned that they couldn't sing for 30 years because their mom said, you're too loud, nobody wants to hear you sing. And someone else heard the person hum and said that you have a very beautiful. I was like, oh no, what are you talking about? That is not a that is noise you are hearing. It's so for someone who's been carrying such a burden for 30 plus years, how are we going about this?
Okay, the first point is to accept I have a problem.
Right.
Once you accept I have a problem, then the awareness is there that I have to work on what I have. A lot of people think, I'm okay, I'm good, I don't have anything. It's the other person. It's you. But like I said, we've all been harmed or hurt a little growing up. And when we are children, there's nothing wrong. We feel we are the princess. Our parents actually call us princess until we go to class 1 and we are not first in class. And then they use one word until we don't wake up early, until we didn't do our homework. And then the narratives change, and then we start forgetting what we thought we were. And so we all heard things. So the awareness that what was said about me is not me. I now want to know who I truly am.
Okay.
It's the beginning. Yeah, I tell people at my masterclass, when you turn 18, you need to cut your head, put it down, open it, take everything out,
18.
and learn, relearn, and keep learning. Because everything in there you picked from the people around you. It's not your own conscious knowledge that you have imbibed into yourself. So once you say to yourself, I don't like the process I'm having. Like I said, I'm like, no, this thing is too hard.
It doesn't have
It doesn't have to be hard. I mean, I've prayed, I've fasted, I've gone to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, revival, everything. And this thing is too hard. But that's not what we are being told that it should be. So I got it. I'm like, nah, it doesn't have to be hard. Yeah. And that was when I started giving myself freedom from all the beliefs. So that's when the mindset, I started releasing them. No. I started saying no to this, no to that.
Right.
No. So it starts with you coming to the place of saying, I don't like where I am.
So the self-acceptance part, how are you cultivating a skill for that? Because I don't think a lot of people want to admit that I am in this situation because maybe my actions or my inactions brought me where I am. Because sometimes having to have that conversation with yourself and admitting that you might be the problem is a very hard one to have. So how then do you come to that self-acceptance? Like when you put everything on the line or on in the book, and then you're like, oh, okay, I think I did this, I think I did that. How then are you able to accept that about yourself and then move on?
Because if you don't accept it too, then you are lying to yourself and you move on. So self-forgiveness is also crucial. You have to forgive yourself and say that I made a mistake. I'm taking responsibility for the mistake I made. A relationship may end and you're like, I didn't show up fully in this relationship. Or a friend may be upset with you and you know that, okay, I was selfish in what I did, or I was arrogant towards that friend. Once you accept it and don't justify it as right to yourself, accepting it is where you are able to
start doing the work.
Pardon?
Start doing the work.
Start doing the work to get better at yourself, because you're saying, honestly, I didn't do well. And accepting that part and saying, I could have done this. It's so compassion, self-compassion comes in. You have to be compassionate to yourself the same way you would have done for your friend who might have aired you and come back and say, oh, aKorfa, I'm sorry. You have to come to that place of having that same compassion for yourself and saying, hey, Ariel, you didn't do well. You should call Edna and tell her, hey, I didn't mean to shout. Once you do that, next time that same scenario comes, you have grown. But when you're hiding from self-acceptance of your own weaknesses, you keep repeating the same thing. You keep justifying it, and you are not having a reflective awareness of how you are impacting people.
Right.
So the word self-awareness also comes in here. You have to be aware of how your choices is also impacting the people around you.
Okay.
Don't just say they did what they did before I did what I did. Well, so why did you also do that? So you need to know, how am I affecting the people around me? Am I just always irritated, shouting at people, angry because I think they put something? That awareness makes you now start accepting that I'm too, I'm a perfectionist.
You're a perfectionist. Well, I also know some people who like to always be right, and so they I don't want to say they set you up, but I think they do set you up. Like, they can have a relationship with you, be it platonic or otherwise, and then they will make sure that they are always right in such a way that when something goes wrong in the friendship or in the relationship, they have the cause to say that it's not their fault, it was your fault, because they made sure to cross their T's and dot their I's. Like, such a person, is that a perfectionist, or is this someone who just don't want to admit that they are wrong ever?
That can be some form of manipulation. Yeah. That
and
can be
not
some
healthy for someone who's trying
it's not healthy.
attain self-love.
It's not healthy.
Right.
You see, when you love yourself, you don't judge people.
Oh.
You become a very kind person.
Okay.
You are so understanding to people because you yourself have accepted your weaknesses, and you appreciate that people also have their flaws. So you are not hard on people. Now, there's this effort you may make sometimes towards your loved one because you're like, I can see your potential. I want you to become more. So sometimes you may push people a bit, but it's from a place of wanting better for them. But when you've accepted your journey and fallen in love with your life, you are not too hard on people.
Because you understand.
Because you understand.
Okay.
You've seen yourself too. You've been honest with yourself, and you know that everybody is also on their own path, on their own journey. How you are navigating is not how they are navigating. What they are seeing is not what you are seeing.
Okay.
So your understanding of people also changes.
Also changes.
The way you judge people changes. So people come around you and they feel safe to actually share because you are not the person who is always making things so hard for them to open up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's this thing that, Mirabel and I were talking about some time back, and had to do with people in relationships, for instance, and they say, let's use a toxic relationship, for example. They've been able to come out of it because sometimes some people are being told that they end up feeling like they're the reason the relationship didn't work out. And so for someone like that who's coming out of such a relationship and want to get on a self-love journey, what's the advice? Like, what are some of the things you'd want to share with such a person, something they can work with so they don't fall into a parting of, feel like they have to go into such relationships to feel important?
Your question is not so clear, one. But if I'm getting you right, somebody who is coming out of a toxic relationship,
how can they work on themselves to attain self-love moving forward?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Moving forward. So first, you need to let go of the past. You need to let go of it and forgive.
But Ariel, don't you think that because you've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
it's easier for you to hold on to this strategy of yours to say to let go? Because I feel like a lot of people, when you say let go, I'm like, well, no, like, it's not that easy.
Yeah. Because we think we need closure, or
Yes.
sometimes we are waiting for apology.
Yes.
But you need to give yourself an apology you are not giving if you value your health and your well-being. And that is where you let go, because you place a priority on your own health and your mental well-being. Because holding on to it, it's affecting you, not the other person.
Not the other person.
So I can understand. I mean, sometimes we feel what the person did is so bad. Forgiving someone doesn't mean what they did was good. It doesn't mean reconciliation either. It just means I'm letting go of how this thing is going to affect me, and I'm going to try to release the pain or the hurt or the shame or the guilt or every emotion I'm feeling about it. I'm going to find ways to release it. How do you find ways to release it? It comes to your self-care practices.
Okay.
To first identify what you're feeling, because how you care for guilt is different from how you care for shame. How you care for sadness is different from how you care for anger. So once you can name the emotion, you'll be able to ask yourself, so what do I need? And sometimes all you need is just appreciating yourself and saying, I did the best I could with this person. I tried. I gave my best to him or her, but it's their loss. It's
But
not.
all the
It's
noise in the world that we find ourselves in. How then is someone to sit with themselves and then start identifying that, oh, this is the boundary I need to set. This is, the self-care practice I need to embark on to end up loving myself? I think it's a lot of work, Ariel. It's a lot of work.
When we are talking like this, it seems like a lot of work.
Okay.
But it's a very simple approach.
Please tell us about this approach. Tell us about this approach.
The simple approach I would say is coming to the place of saying that I want to feel better about my life.
Okay.
If you can say that you want to feel better about your life, you are starting the journey. Now, the journey in itself is not an end to be achieved. It's not that you start today and then you are done, because it's balancing every day. Tomorrow, something else is what is hitting you. Something else is here. Something else is here. So it's an ongoing growth and journey of always holding yourself in a way that is not going through things, but you are not allowing them to crush you, not break you, because you have this way of being able to bounce back from the things that are happening. So it's from a place of saying, I deserve better. I matter. I'm enough. I'm good. These are the thoughts you should start having about yourself. It start changing how you prioritize yourself. I matter. I'm enough. I'm good. I deserve better than this. I mean, should I always give up on myself to please this? You know, when that awareness start coming and you start knowing your worth, self-worth, you start knowing that I have something. I can't give up on what I have just because. You're not putting down yourself just to please everything else, anybody else. You start honoring that I belong in this world because I have something too. Me too. You know, me too.
I matter.
I matter. I'm enough. I'm good. I can do something, you know. Start from there. So it's not getting it all together, done and dusted with. No.
Okay.
It's a journey. It's not an end to be achieved. You can do it all today and say, okay, I'm done. I've crossed my leg. No. And it takes patience and every day being gentle, patience, kind. The fruits of the Spirit, what are they? Having them with yourself every day.
But then, you know, with what you talked about right now, I was just looking at, while putting questions together for our conversation today, I was looking at, I found something about societal beauty standards and how it impacts self-love.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the longest time, and also I think that it talked about the media, you know, representation. Ariel says, yup. Like, so, yeah. So,
Yep.
like the media representation and all of that.
Yeah.
How will someone, you know, try balance that with, you know, wanting to be on a journey of self-love? Because you're watching television, you're on social media, you're seeing this, and then, you know, the society, the world telling you that, oh, this is what the standard of beauty should look like, and then you see yourself and you're like, oh, well,
Then I'm not there.
I'm not, you know, how does that impact self-love? Let's talk about that.
Well, you know, social media, the internet is good, but it has its disadvantages, and everything have pros and cons. And when you come to that place of self-accepting, when you see all those things and you don't, you should have these mental capacity to not let it judge you. Because I tell people it's not about being slim. It's about being healthy in the body you are living in. You know, if you can be okay in your skin and like what you have, then what you're seeing, okay, if you like it, and it's, so I want to share a story. Let me share a story so that maybe
Is it from TikTok?
No.
Okay.
No. My personal
Your
story.
personal story.
So I've locked my hair. I used to do weave-ons back then. I had a salon and a spa. I wear weave-on. I used to have a whole pack of weave-on. Every month I'm changing weave-ons and all that, you know? Looking fly. And I used to like the big ones, the curly big ones. Yeah. So one day I saw a friend of mine wearing one. I used to buy my own from London, and then I saw her having, I asked her, she said she bought it from Hair Center. So I drove my car. But on that time, I was going through a lot of transformative journey. I drove to Hair Center and I went and I told them the name of the weave-on I was looking at. And they said they didn't have that. And then they started telling me, and this one, and this one, and that one, and that one. I'm like, what the hell? Really? No, this can't be this important. This is me. I said, this can be this important. It is this. You can have it 360, 460, 3 center, baba. They went on and on and on, and my head just snapped. I said, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I walked out of my car. I made the decision. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. That was 2018. I braided the whole of 2018. 2019, I just said, I'm locking my hair. I loved it. So this is how you should come to a place of knowing that, I don't want to do this. And I'm going to honor what I want. And I'm not asking anybody for approval or permission. That is self-permission. Nobody will understand why you suddenly got up and say, I'll only wear sneakers every day. I'm not doing the 7 inches anymore. But you have that place of knowing why. And you don't need to let everybody understand you. Now, where we struggle is we want everybody to understand us and say, okay, you won't get it.
We're waiting for the approval.
You won't get approval. So you have to honor yourself. If you don't do it, it takes courage.
It does take courage.
It takes courage.
It's still Strong and Sassy here on Joy 99.7 FM. We're having a conversation with Ariel about what self-love is. And so would like you to also join in. Share your thoughts with us via WhatsApp 055 11 11 997. And I've got a message here from Nana Kwesi that says, prioritize your peace of mind and happiness over anything. If something makes sense, do it. Do with it. If it doesn't, bin it. Now, bin was actually in capital letters. So that's just, how Nana Kwesi wants us to know that we're really binning it. Now, it says, if it's not adding up to the joy you have, cut it off. If you don't belong, don't keep long in that space. Don't fit in, be who you are, and the right people will appreciate and embrace your uniqueness. That is such powerful words there. And I think that's one of the things that people have not come to realize yet, that they don't necessarily need the nod of another person to be able to make decisions for themselves. We've got a few more minutes, but quickly I want us to talk about what the most important lesson you've learned about self-love, and then we get into, you have an amazing event coming up, we'll get into that as well. So let's talk about the most important lesson you've learned about self-love.
I live in freedom. That's the most important lesson I've learned. And that's what everybody is looking for, to be free. I live in freedom. I'm at peace with where I am, eager for where I'm going, and content as I move forward.
Right.
And for me, that is one of the most beautiful places I find myself. And that not in itself like saying it's an end. So do I want more? Oh, yes, I want more. But while I'm moving forward to where I'm going, I'm not at war with myself while I'm going, because it's me going to where I am going. Okay. If I'm at war with myself while I'm going, I'll get there and I'll not be my best self when I arrive there. So living in freedom and honoring who I am right now, and saying yes to every moment in kindness and compassion with myself is one of the things that, for me, I'm not giving it up for anything.
And then what's one simple yet powerful self-love practice you'd recommend to anyone listening to us?
Reading.
Ah.
Reading. Yeah.
Reading.
Yeah.
Do you recommend the time of day to be reading?
I
know.
I wish I can.
Like a personal decision.
I wish I can, but
decision.
everybody's, schedule is different.
Yeah.
But if you can dive into some form of reading consistently, it would do a lot of help.
Right.
The right materials.
The right materials.
The right materials. So
you don't just read things that Kofi Hayford will recommend to you. Okay.
Please don't put me in that trouble.
How are we prioritizing? How has prioritizing self-love impacted your relationships? Moving forward. Yeah. How has that been?
Everybody is easy around me.
Okay.
Everybody can come to me. Yeah. It's like that. My kids are my friends. I don't live. I'm 52, so I'm this. I can wear shorts when I want. I do mean and allow everybody to do them. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Everybody can be themselves and feel comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. Before I get into your the event, what resources or tools would you recommend for someone looking to deepen their self-love journey?
Mindfulness or meditation. Yeah.
So, okay, I don't want us to
dive into that.
When people hear meditation, they're thinking, I don't know what word to use, but there are some posters when you see meditation, it seems like a very spiritual thingy. Like there are some photos of, I don't know, for want of a better expression, like Buddhism sort of thing. So people are not too comfortable if that's a thing they would want to venture into. For someone who does meditation, what would you say?
So you see,
There are parts.
Wellness is about knowledge and action, a cross path of knowledge and action.
Okay.
If you hear the word meditation and you want to understand it, what do? Find out more. And so get the knowledge and the understanding of what it is. Every culture and how they practice meditation. So if for wellness is not cultural based or religious based.
Okay.
So wellness embraces anything that has been researched and scientifically proven that it improves health and well-being.
Okay.
And these practices from the East and the South have been proven
To help.
scientifically and medically that they have improved people's health and their well-being. The researches are there. And so that is why they are recommended as wellness and self-care practices. If you don't want that, there are other ways of meditating. Even walking with at the beach and just being mindful and present is a meditation. There's a way you can listen to music and allow the music to bring you to the present moment. You know, there are affirmations you can use to meditate. You can use the Bible verses to meditate.
Okay.
It's just by being present with yourself in a calmer way and not judging your thoughts as bad.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be the way an Indian will practice meditation. You know, so if you look at it from a cultural perspective or where it comes from, you may be denying yourself something that is the tool you need to help you to come to more awareness and, bringing more calmness into your well-being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have the Wellness Lifestyle Meetup, and this year's theme is Healthy People, Happy People. Let's talk about that. We've got about 3 minutes to go. Yes.
So every second Saturday of the month, I have my Wellness Meetup, which is full of self-love and self-care practices to help people to give themselves that space to nurture and care for themselves. So we take care of the body, mind, and spirit through activities that we do. And this, we also go through a creative exercise. This month we are doing journaling. Journaling is one powerful practice. I intentionally didn't mention it, that you can use for self-love. When you learn there are different types of journaling styles. If you know one, and you can use it to actually understand and write how you are feeling, to explore yourself and get to know why you do what you do or feel what you feel, to understand your experiences. It can also be a positive outlet. You know, sometimes you've done something, someone has done something. In your head, you have all the words, the insult, the thing, but when you see them now, you can't tell them. Journaling is a positive outlet you can use, and research shows that when we write, we actually reinforce things into our mind than when we are typing. So we'll be exploring the art of journaling. We have a coach coming to take us through that practice. It comes with breakfast at Labadi Beach Hotel, the swimming, you can go walk on the beach. It's a very humbling environment, and we go every second Saturday to do our wellness sessions.
Will you share your contacts quickly?
Yes, we can share our contacts. If you want to register, you can call on 0243 600 899 0243 600 899 to register.
Thank you so much, Ariel.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much.
Enlightening conversation. So Ariel is a wellness coach, and she took us through our conversation on what self-love is on today's edition of Strong and Sassy. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is aKorfa, and right now is the news update at 8. Right after that will be the Overdrive with Kofi Hayford. My name is aKorfa. Have a lovely evening.